When we were at practice Monday, indoors, light work, we only saw 15 minutes, but everyone as we walked in noticed the same thing. Tigers begin practice with their offensive ready period. It's just start at midfield, and it is just a hurry-up, no huddle against air, move quickly, get to the end zone after a sequence of plays. And we all noticed the same thing, that there was change on the offensive line. I'm not talking about Paul Mabenga at first-team left guard because we've seen that rotation a good bit, but true freshman Carius Curne was playing right tackle with the first team. And remember, Curne was a 5-star, number 1 interior offensive lineman in the country when he signed with LSU out of Arkansas. Showed up it was an early enrollee, so showed up for spring. And in spring was working almost exclusively as the second-team left tackle, which is what we've seen him do almost exclusively throughout this fall camp, is back up Tyree Adams at left tackle. So color us all surprised when we go out there. You know, what are we at that point? 11 days from the season opener, and Carius Curne's running out there with the first team at right tackle. So we meet with Brian Kelly on Tuesday, and I asked him, what's up with that?
You know, Tyree is going to be our starting left tackle. I think there's still a battle between Paul and Cohen Eccles, you know, for one of the guard positions. Justin has nailed down one of the guard positions. Braylon has nailed down the center. And I think there's still a battle for that next tackle position, which would be the right tackle. So we moved Carius over there to compete with Weston to see who's our best. And maybe it's both of them more than anything else. We wanted to see that maybe it's a combination or maybe it's one or the other. There wasn't enough competition there. We feel like Ori's coming along, but he wasn't there yet. So we wanted to create a little bit more competition at that right tackle position.
There is a lot to unpack there. So from Brian Kelly's mouth, you have 3 starters that are locked in. Okay, so if you're trying to chart this and figure this out, Tyree Adams, your left tackle, Braylon Moore's your center, and he said Justin, but he meant Josh Thompson. Put it in the folder. And we literally have a folder here of, I'm not lying, we literally have a folder here of names that Brian Kelly's messed up. Who's the guy? Was it Greg Clayton the first year? Did they call it? Whatever. So yeah, whatever. I mean, we literally have a folder. So he meant Josh. So add it in the folder. Meant Josh Thompson's guard. Let me not get distracted. So Tyree Adams, left tackle. Braylon Moore, center. Josh Thompson at guard. 3 of your 5 are set. He said that Paul Mabenga and Cohen Eccles are battling for the other guard spot, and they just didn't have competition at right tackle behind Weston Davis. Now, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I've gone out to every media availability they've given us, and I do watch the offensive line a good bit. I think Weston Davis has been really good. I don't think it's one of those situations where, from what I've seen, again, I haven't seen everything the coaches have. From what I've seen, it hasn't been like egregious to where, man, you got to get someone else in there. But it's also true that you haven't rotated at right tackle. It's been Weston Davis out there. And so they're trying Curne out there to see if someone can push Weston Davis. Maybe just to see if you got a better option out there. Notice who he didn't mention, which is the other part of this that's super significant. He didn't mention DJ Chester. You lost 4 starters off of last year's offensive line that all were drafted in the NFL. The one guy returning, started all 13 games for you last year at center, is DJ Chester. And I know that was the weak link, but it's not necessarily because DJ Chester is a bad player. Remember, when DJ Chester signed with LSU in 2023, 24/7 rated him as the number 1 interior offensive lineman in the country. And he is a massive human. He's just not a center. He's a guard. By his own admission in spring, he said it. Like, he's more comfortable playing guard than center. Doesn't have to snap the football. You don't have to make the calls. You'd be a little more athletic, a little more read and react. You're less thinking about all the calls and everything. Well, it makes sense. That's okay. It's not a knock. It's just the reality. It's a hard thing to do to transition to play center. Braylon Moore's awesome at it. Great. You have the cornerstone right in the center of your line solidified. But I think Chester could be a really, really good guard, and he's started in 13 games. He's started at Florida. He started at Texas A&M. He started at Arkansas. He started that mob scene at home against Ole Miss. Like, he's been through the fire, and you would think opener going to Clemson with 80,000 people going bonkers, wouldn't you want someone who's done that 13 times already? Brian Kelly on why he omitted DJ Chester from that conversation.
In some ways, it's a disservice to him because we got him playing center, guard. He's playing a little bit of right tackle. You know, he's competing for a starting position as well. But we can't put them all out there. So somebody's going to have to be in a rotational position, whether it's Paul or Cohen or DJ, Weston or Carius. Those are the guys that are all going to eventually play. I don't think you're just going to see 5 guys trotting out there every single play. I think you're going to see some other guys definitely getting in the game as well.
And that last part is the thing that gives me tremendous pause. Because, look, we saw this movie. We saw this movie in Brian Kelly's first ever game as the LSU coach. Didn't we? LSU's playing Florida State in the Superdome. And they go through fall camp, and they don't know. They got some really talented young guys. Freshman Will Campbell, freshman Emory Jones, transfer Miles Frazier. Garrett Dellinger played a lot of football. And trying to figure out who you had, where and what. And if you remember, the opener against Florida State, Garrett Dellinger started that game at center. And on the opening possession of the season, you're going right down the field, and you airmail a snap and cost yourself a shot at a touchdown in the game against Florida State. You end up kicking a field goal in that possession. Anyway, after that game, Garrett Dellinger, Charles Turner went in at center, Dellinger went to guard, and Dellinger never went back to center. By week 3, Emory Jones was your starting right tackle, Frazier was your right guard, Dellinger was your left guard, Will Campbell was your left tackle, and those 4 guys stayed in those positions for the next 3 years. But it took you 3 weeks to figure that out. I don't love the fact that you don't have this figured out. I'll repeat again the thing that I've said since the first day of fall camp. I think they got a ton of really talented offensive linemen. And you have more experience than anybody's considering. Do you realize that the 7 guys that Brian Kelly just talked about, they have played in a combined 106 games. 104 games with 60 starts. When you talk about Braylon Moore as a 2-year starter at Virginia Tech, Josh Thompson is a 2-year starter at Northwestern, DJ Chester started 13 games, Paul Mabenga started 5 games a season ago. Like, you've got guys that have played collectively a lot of football. The 4 guys you lost combined to play 170 career games. But your top 7, who Kelly mentioned, have combined to play over 100 games with 60 starts. So you've got, it's not last year, but you've got experience. What you don't have is experience together. And that's the thing that in the season opener, when you have to go on the road in a true road game at night, Clemson against some really good talent defensively. I mean, look, Clemson's got their flaws. I mean, Clemson was ranked in the 90s last year in yards per rush allowed. Like, they were a really talented defense that wasn't a great defense statistically. New defensive coordinator with Tom Allen coming in from Penn State. You know, there's reason to look at Clemson's defense and go, they got a lot to prove too. But man, I'd feel much better if you told me today, less than 2 weeks from the opener, their first 5 were locked in. They knew who they were, ready to roll. And when Brian Kelly's telling you, no, these guys are going to rotate and they're all going to play, that's a tough ask. That's why I'd feel so much better about this Clemson game if it was week 3. If you look at the way Florida's schedule sets up, where they start with like Long Island and South Florida before they get into the meat of it, like they have a chance to ease their way into it. Like if LSU had that opportunity, like if LSU went Southeastern, Louisiana Tech, then at Clemson, I'd probably have a dramatically different feeling. but this is a tall task for this unit of talented players that have not played together, and they're still trying to find their best five. A little unsettling with how Brian Kelly described it today. Now, I know last week when he met with us, he said he basically flexed and said, put a lot of first-rounders. I've coached for a long time. I know what good offensive line looks like, and this is going to be a good unit. And I don't doubt that at all, by the way. I don't doubt that this is going to be a good unit. I just don't know if they're going to be a great unit week 1 on the road at Clemson, which I think is the toughest game on the schedule.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.